All right, so there's some couple of things I want to go over about what we talked about last time. I'm going to grab this one real quick. There we go. Move it up so it's outside of the ground there. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to talk about. We've taken the plane, exported it out, brought it into Substance over here, and we did some texturing on it and everything. Nothing crazy, nothing perfect. We're just trying to understand the methodology here. So we've done this, but what we kind of need to find a way to do is so we've done this, but I want to show you something that somebody brought up to me that I want to show you one of the things that could mess up what you're seeing. So if we come back to here, and a lot of people think that if I just hide this and I export this, and I send it over as decals 2 in this case, we'll just overwrite it in a minute. And then I say okay, and then I come back to Substance. Oops, let me make sure it's, yeah, holding up the export there. Okay, and I come back to Substance and then I bake. I'm going to come back into my bake, and I'm going to rebake it with the with just the one I just exported instead of the one we had before. So how do I do that? I just come out of here. I'll get rid of the old bake, the one I use for baking. I'll come to decals 2, open, and bake like this. Now if I come back in here and I bake with that, so I'll come in here, I'll say bake, and I'll pick that one that we just made, and I'll just do this and say decals 2, and we'll make sure everything's turned on, and we'll just say bake selected. What we end up is something like this. Okay, so we don't want this necessarily because this gives us a bunch of information we don't need. This is the dilation of it, and if you're seeing things collide together, the way you fix that problem is, some people brought up to me that you can do your dilation stuff up here, but really the way to do it, because look at this is all kind of weird. The best way to do it, in my opinion, the way I work, is I just leave that plane on. And I select everything and I export it all at once. And we'll go to decals this time, and I'll say save, and we'll go okay. We'll say okay. And this is kind of like a default dilation mesh here, so I'll do this thing again, bake, and then I'm going to get rid of that one, add the bake decals here, open and bake. And now everything we get looks correct. Okay, so that's a big thing, is that you really want to bring that plane in with you that you're building it on, because it helps lock down its position and stuff. Okay, that said, and I can take a look at it this way. Yeah, I think I have a double normal on here, I think. That's why I'm getting that weirdness. So if I take it's probably Damascus has something. But anyway, I'm not too worried about it. I can turn that on. That one's doing it too. So there's a couple of them that aren't perfect. Anyway, the other big thing is I want to get an alpha for all these things. If I'd used the other alpha, it would have been a big pain in the butt. So what we're going to do is if I'd used the one without the background, it wouldn't have worked correctly. It'll give me that big blowout. But if I come into Max and I say select this and just attach everything. In fact, what I usually do is I will undo this. I will duplicate it. So Control V, copy, not an instance. And then hide selection, so I have a copy that's hidden. Or I'll just do this real quick, and it's really fast. I can go in the list, and I pretty much want everything. Actually, let me do this right. I'm going to freeze this, and then I'll grab one of these, and I'll just click this button for attach, and it should be everything here like that. And there, they're all attached except for my background plane, so I'll end isolation. or I'm sorry, not index dilation, but unfreeze all, grab everything. And what I want to do is have this one material and this one material. I don't want these all to be baked out in their own material. So I'm going to come into my material editor real quick. I'm going to say general. We're going to say physical material for now. We can, there's plenty of other stuff we could do. We'll call this base plane. Like this. And then we'll just dupe it and say trim objects. Like that. I'm going to make this one blue, just so we can see a difference in them. We'll pull this up to here, and we'll go to blue. Say okay, and I'm going to attach it to what I have selected. And I'm going to attach this one, and we might as well just make it a color too. We'll just go to like a pink or purple. And we'll put it on this. So we have two objects with two different colors. Now I'm going to export again. This one will overwrite trim 2, just because we know that one's broken anyway, and this is for a specific reason. So there's a couple things you can do. What we're trying to do is get an alpha that cuts out all of these objects from the background plane. And there's a couple ways to do it, and I'm just going to show you the easy, or the way I've done it for years, and I'm sure there's a new methodology inside of Substance. Again, if we chase down every new tech, we'll end up getting ourselves lost in the minutia of actually doing the techie stuff instead of the actual production, in my opinion. So what I'll do is I'll do that bake again, like this, and I'm not even going to worry about anything but the ID map right here. Oops, let me turn that off. It doesn't matter, they're the same. I could have done this from the beginning, but I'm going to change this from, I think it's defaulting at material color, and we can do this real quick and I'll show you what happens. Nothing, right? And it's just because of the way Max is sending it over and stuff like that, but really what it's looking for, if I do that bake again, you'll see it's just set to that. I'll go back and click on this. It shows me the ID settings, and I'll change this to Mesh ID and Polygroup. Polygroup is from ZBrush, but Mesh ID is the ID channels that I gave these things. So if I bake it, now I get this map, which you can see a little bit better over here. There it is. And this is great and stuff, but you can see that a lot of these colors are really bleeding together, and what we're really trying to do is get an alpha out of them. So we're going to do it one more time, and we're going to come up here to ID, and we're going to change it from hue shift to grayscale, and then we're going to bake. And say okay. And this is what we end up getting, which is a lot more usable. Let me show you why. Because I'm going to export this resource, and I'm going to send it over here to where my trim textures are. I'll just say select. I've already made a folder. And if I come over to Photoshop, we'll see, I already kind of opened it, but here we'll open it again, and we'll open up this color map, ping. And what we can do is we can go to the wand, which is W, or click this button up here, click on everything, and then I'm going to make this not a background object, and then I'm going to delete. And then I'm going to make a fill background, deselect everything, and fill it with black. And now I have this, then I just come up here to L, or push the right button, L, and then we're going to turn this all the way over to white. And now we have an alpha, perfect alpha. So we'll save this over the old one. In fact, what we'll do is we'll collapse it down. We don't even need, we'll just say merge visible, so it's all one layer, and then we can just say save, and it'll overwrite the old one. Probably I should resave it as something else though. So we'll save this as trim alpha, like that. Just say save. Doesn't matter if it's a ping or whatever. Okay. So we're doing this, and we need this really only for 3D Studio Max or other programs. This isn't, well, this kind of takes care of itself for a game engine like Unity or Unreal, but for 3D Studio Max we need to kind of hack some stuff together to make it look like the way we want to when we're building it. Alright, but that's next, and we'll get into that in the next video.